Video topic for tonight is, what are you focused on? What are you paying attention to mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually? And how is what you're paying attention to benefiting you and helping you grow in these parts of your life and in these states of beings? In your journey in life, there's going to be distractions, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, there's going to be all sorts of things that you have to go through. But focusing on certain things are going to be both most beneficial for your scenario, for the situation you find yourself in. So we have to ask ourselves, what are we focused on? Whatever you focus on is going to create your reality. And the more and more that you focus on something, the more you're going to become more mentally in tune with that, more physically, more emotionally, and spiritually in tune with what it is you're focusing on. So that is why it is important to understand and to know and be consciously aware of what it is that you are focused on. Are you even focused on growing at all? Are you focused on growth in the general? Are you focused on staying the same? Are you focused on being stagnant in a opposite way, where focusing on, let's say, being stagnant, or focusing on the things that you, or negative behaviors that you're fixated on, and not being able to move on from these things? Therefore, if you're focusing on those things, that's all you're going to have in your reality. That is what your reality is going to consist of the things that you are focused on. It's a new year. It's 2025. Are you focused on growing? Are you focused on making opportunities? Are you focusing on creating opportunities? Like I said before, distractions are going to be there all the time. There's going to be people trying to distract you, or just distracting you by default, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And you have to filter these things out. You have to be able to have that distraction, whether it be mental, come through your mind, and you filter that distraction out and focus on what is important. You have to be able to have the distraction come to you in the physical state of being, and be aware of that distraction and deflect that distraction from your space, and now focus your physical state of being and your physical efforts on what it is that is truly important to you. Let's say an emotional distraction. Do not let something distract you from where you know you need to be and where you need to be focusing as far as emotionally, and the efforts that you put in and the work that you put in as far as emotionally. Or let's say a spiritual distraction comes your way. Something distracts you in the state of being as far as spiritually goes. You have to be able to be a strong spirit and deflect that, and be the strong spirit to not allow that to take you off your spiritual path, to take you off your path of where you are going, to take you away from the goals that you set for yourself in the moment. Being able to shift your focus back to what it is that you need to be focused on is redirecting yourself to the right path. So focus on what it is that you want to make happen, and all the things that come up to distract you, know that they're distractions. And very soon I will make a video on staying in your lane, because that's an important thing. Staying in your lane is a great thing when it comes to staying focused, and we're going to talk about that on this channel. Welcome to the video. If this is your first time on my channel, show some support. Welcome. And let's get into why focusing is such a big deal. If you're not focused on things as far as mentally, you will not grow mentally. You will stay focusing on the things that you've been focusing on as far as mentally. That could be what you're thinking as far as mentally. That could be what you're communicating as far as mentally. It could be anything having to do with mentally, where if you're not paying attention to what you're focused on, then you're not going to grow from that. when it comes to why it's good to focus physically, well, you have to grow in the physical state of being, and if you're not focused on that aspect of growing and what behaviors, what actions do you want to take, how do you want to act as far as physically, then you're not going to change. You're not going to create that reality. And like I said, what you focus on creates your reality. So make sure that you're focusing on what it is that you need to focus on. And I'm telling you right now, first-handedly, where this whole month, I'm trying to make and teach mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I'm trying to teach truths of these states of beings. And when I'm not doing that, I'm not necessarily focused on these things. And sure, I'm focused on other things. So there's a give and a take, and there's always this balance to be spoken of. But if you truly are making the efforts to do what it is that you say you want to do and make possible what it is that you want to make possible, then you will put in the effort and you will stay focused on these things. Let's talk about emotionally. You got to stay focused on that, regardless of how you feel one day. If you feel lazy, if you feel like any feeling that's not comprehensive to your goal and to your journey can be filtered out, and that will help you focus on what it is that you need to focus on. As far as spiritually, well, anything that takes away your energy, or you perceive that it is taking away your energy, not that it maybe is taking away your energy as far as spiritually, or your wisdom, or your knowledge, but you might even just perceive it that way. It can be perceived, or it can actually be founded in reality, and therefore being proof of that. Filter out those things that are distracting you as far as spiritually, therefore you can shift yourself back onto a spiritual journey, and the spiritual journey that is right for you in this current travel that we are on, in your own, I was going to say collectively, yes, we're on a travel in the season that we're in as far as collectively, but in your own solo journey that you have, being able to focus on the things that you want to make possible and the things that you want to make happen as far as your accomplishments, as far as your goals, as far as transitioning into the line of work that you want to be in, creating the life that you want to live. You know, a lot of us are just having to do things for the time being, and that has become a distraction from our focus of what it is that we want to be doing. So if there's something that you just have to do as far as mentally, you just have to do as far as physically, you're forced to do as far as emotionally, you're forced to do as far as spiritually. Okay, it's okay to have to do those things right now, but at one point in time, you have to grow beyond these things if you want to get closer to the life that you want to live. You have to be able to be strong enough to move on from those things. You have to be able to be wise enough and sharp enough to be able to move from these things. Anytime you are distracted in the mental, in the physical, in the emotional, and in the spiritual, catch yourself on that, call yourself out on that, and do the work that you have to do. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take everything that it's going to take in order for you to get to that place. Catch you guys in the next one.